with survivors punished for looking like the enemy during World War II and now telling their stories while they still can.
Tonight, we take you to one of the largest former internment camps in the United States. Justin Lum reports from Poston, Arizona.
There's tranquility in this space. Underneath the endless sky is a reminder in the desert where a piece of history is preserved. It's why the journey here is more important than ever. Nearly 8 decades later, the purpose to pay homage and to never forget.
The fear on my mother's face, that's ingrained in my memory.
It's a part of who I am today.
Dozens of Japanese Americans make the Poston Pilgrimage. First, second, and third generations gathering at this monument, looking back on how one day changed the world.
Along came December 7th, 1941.
A date which will live in infamy.
2,400 Americans killed and 1,200 wounded in Hawaii. Japan's surprise attack on Pearl Harbor leaves the Pacific Fleet's battleships decimated. America enters World War II. President Roosevelt issues Executive Order 9066, authorizing forced removal of Japanese Americans from the West Coast. Nearly 120,000 Japanese people living in the U.S., 70,000 of them are American citizens. They're sent to 10 internment camps outside restricted military zones. 2 of the camps are built in Arizona. Forced to leave their homes, businesses, and everything they knew, nearly 18,000 people of Japanese descent came here. Most of them from California, now in the Sonoran Desert for the first time. And just 12 miles south of Parker, Arizona, these families would be imprisoned at the Poston Relocation Center. With just days to pack their items, families boarded trains and buses for the unknown. At 6 years old, Ruth Okimoto and her family left San Diego, taken away by soldiers armed with rifles and bayonets.
The government put us on a train and sent us to the Colorado River Indian Reservation, and there we stayed for the next 3 years.
James Tajiri, also from San Diego, spent his teenage years incarcerated, sleeping in a barrack like this one.
It was a small room, 20 by 25 feet square room, and when we went in there the first day, there was nothing there but a cooler system, a wall, and a heater, and then one light bulb. We had a pillowcase, we filled it with straw.
Tajiri tried to enlist in the army twice, but got rejected for being Japanese. Disappointed, he returned to Poston.
I bought a Greyhound bus ticket, and I went back to Poston.
Tajiri finally got drafted, but the war ended before he completed basic training. He still went on to do tours in Korea, Japan, and Vietnam. 20 years in the military. For children, Poston meant exploring the desert.
Under the barracks, there were scorpions, and we would catch them. Lasso them. And lasso them together, tie them together, and let them run around.
The inmates of Poston made the best out of the situation, even building their own school, an irrigation system. Norm Ikeda says his parents never showed frustration of being incarcerated.
Our parents are known as the quiet Americans. They didn't complain about anything.
But 77 years later, survivors are speaking out, telling their stories, reflecting on the injustice they lived through so long ago, and not holding back on what they believe it truly was.
It was a concentration camp. The only difference between America's concentration camps and what happened in Germany and Italy and everywhere else in Europe is that they didn't send us into the gas chambers.
And Ikeda believes there are parallels between the Japanese internment camps and the crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border.
What's happening at the border is exactly the same thing that happened to us. But it's worse because they're taking the kids away from their parents.
For some survivors, Poston is their second home, a dark time in U.S. history, bonding Japanese Americans.
It's embedded in my blood.
Making the pilgrimage means something to survivors, a past you don't run away from, but instead fully embrace.
Poston means a difficult time in American history that I hope doesn't repeat itself. That's what Poston is to me.
In 1988, President Ronald Reagan signed the Civil Liberties Act legislation with a formal apology that paid $20,000 to each surviving victim who made it out of those camps.